So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to avoid getting scammed when trying to become an actor. I know this is something, if anything, I feel like this is a video I could show at the top or the first of the series that I've made for beginner actors, because I feel like, yes, Pinto agrees. Pinto also agrees again. Exactly. Do not get scammed, according to my cat Pinto, if you can hear him. But basically, a lot of people in this industry, when they first start out, have huge hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And at the other tail end of it, unfortunately, there are a lot of scammers, people who are horrible, rude, and just essentially want to take your money. And I'm so sorry to say this, but the random person coming up to you saying that they see something in you without any type of valid credentials or any type of business card for an actual business and things of that nature usually means that they are running some type of scam. Don't get me wrong, there are legitimate scouts. There are legitimate agents and scouts who go out trying to find people, but that's namely for modeling. It's very seldom you see that for acting. But sometimes you'll see these scouts and they'll look for people who are very distinct in terms of look or type of style that they're looking for, not the typical clean-cut actor or actress. So now that's not super off the radar, but if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's just someone approaching you saying like, oh, we can get you into casting opportunities, we can get you into this movie and that movie, you just have to pay a lump sum, that is a scam, my dear. That is a scam. So first things first, rule number one is you will not be paying for an audition. Now, in some of my previous videos, I've mentioned that there are certain platforms that you can use, which are valid platforms to where you would pay a subscription fee in order to submit to auditions. But if there's someone that goes up to you and they're like, oh, we want you to read for this audition and it's $50 to $100 in order for you to audition, that is a scam. That is not an audition. That is a cash grab. I know there are a couple of weird calls that go out like this where they say like, oh, we'd love to sign you. We just need to go ahead and interview you first. And then in the interview, you find out that you have to pay some type of weird subscription just solely to be a part of their database. It has nothing to do with being on Actors Access, casting networks, or any of the valid platforms in order to be submitted for auditions. It is just, you need to pay us a lump sum and we will either do your headshots, do this, that, the other. But it's like they're looking to essentially sell you a package, to which there's no guarantee in you becoming an actor based off of that, just so you know. Number two, if they are rushing you, it is probably a scam. If they say something along the lines of, this role is going to go so fast, you have to sign up today, or the spots are limited, you don't want to miss out. They're trying to bypass your essential critical thinking, and they just want you to think like, oh my gosh, I won't be able to get this opportunity again if I don't sign, if I don't pay, that is a scam. And here's the big one for me. I think that showcases are kind of scammy. You shouldn't have to pay hundreds upon thousands of dollars to do some type of showcase. That to me is very weird. I could understand maybe $100 or so. Sometimes casting directors will have these little kind of auditions for them and they will actually give you some type of critique. But that is because they're a casting director who has been in the industry for years. And they've essentially hand selected some of the actors that you see are now A-list celebrities at this point. That is something completely separate. I still think it's a little iffy that you have to pay to talk to them, but understandably so, they are sparing their time and energy to essentially audit you. That's one thing that's completely different. And another thing too is I would still do immense research before signing up for any type of casting director workshop or anything of that sort. But for these random showcases where they're like, oh yeah, Disney, Marvel, and Netflix, and everyone's gonna be there. And I'm like, no, they're probably not. 9 times out of 10, they send some type of intern out there. And the intern may or may not be paying attention. And usually they're not. I know a lot of these are kind of catered towards like kids who want to be actors, and you'll see them in malls and stuff. I don't think they're quite as popular now because so many people know that they are scams. Like it takes a quick and simple Google search, a Reddit post, and maybe one other type of source to be like, oh yeah, this is completely invalid. And the big way that you can tell that this is a scam is like, hey, is it they want to invite you or they want to invite everyone who pays? You can have the perfect headshot, the perfect demo reel, the perfect resume, and still not have much of a career in acting or have a short-lived one. It's gonna vary. There's no guarantee, and anyone trying to sell you a guarantee is completely lying to you. Or it sounds too good to be true, usually it is. You're not gonna have some random, like a huge director from Netflix crawl into your DM saying, hey, I think you'd be perfect for this. With the amount of auditions they get from actors, to which are typically in the thousands, that's not going to be a thing. Now, I will say if you're working in smaller like indie production, yeah, sure, there may be some people who are looking to reach out and work with you or something. I remember I had posted a casting call for something, not even thinking much of it, and the director for that short film reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in auditioning for my short film actually? And I was able to get a role based off of that, a few DMs and messages back and forth here and there. It can happen, but again, look up their credentials. I trusted this person because I saw a pitch deck. That's the one thing you want to look for. I saw a pitch deck for her movie. I saw she already made movies previously. Additionally, I saw she was also kind of under the mentorship of Issa Rae. That in itself, I was like, okay, you have at least 3 validating things letting me know you're not some weirdo, you're not some random just trying to get me in a weird or uncomfortable situation for a movie. You are the real deal. As much as I had the same aspirations of being discovered in a mall like Britney Spears or many of us had hoped would happen one day, you're just not going to find reputable people in the mall scouting you. Let's be real. Especially with things like Instagram and social media, I feel like if anything now, if you have more of just a social media presence, that can probably get you in better connection than anything in person. And lastly, you definitely want to trust your gut. There comes a point where you're talking to someone and you kind of get this weird inkling feeling that they're probably just full of shit, and they usually are. I know for one thing I went to, if it feels like one of those how do you say, those pyramid scheme things where they have you all sitting down in a room to watch a video to give an example of one person that might have been signed with their agency that did really well or got an amazing contract. That to me screams scam. You should not feel like when you're walking into an agency that you're about to go start selling knives online and start being a part of what is it called? A MLM or a part of a pyramid scheme. As soon as it starts to get those kind of vibes, yeah, just leave. Just get up and go. That's just something you have to have some level of discernment and intuition to understand that things like that aren't just crazy random like that, you know? If they're not being transparent, if they're rushing you, if they're making you especially feel uncomfortable, you want to listen to that gut feeling. And if they're offering you roles and these big, hopes and dreams and things without even seeing you act, I mean, that in and of itself is another huge red flag. And when you look up this person's name and you can't find any credentials, just go. So I would say those would be the main things to look out for. I'm not going to name any names when it comes to these companies that I know are floating out there that are scamming people by basically just reposting casting calls and expecting people to pay to be on their platform when it's already out there for free, or trying to poach people into these weird acting/modeling packages when in actuality, typically if you're shooting for trade, which means it's of benefit to both photographer and or model or actor to get photos for free or get a subject for free. It's a scam. So first and foremost, if it seems too good to be true, look them up, try to find some website, Instagram, social media. And if they're the real deal, I would especially recommend looking to see if they do have a roster, talking to people on the roster, because sometimes they have fake rosters that don't even exist. I don't know what are the motivations of some of these weirdos, but it's always better to be safe rather than sorry. So hopefully this saves some people a little bit of time and energy when it comes to trying to figure out if something is a scam, if something is legitimate, or if something's just overall worth their time. Feel free to leave in the comments some situations that you thought were kind of sketchy, or maybe a bullet that you dodged, because maybe that may help somebody else if they see it in the comment section. But thank you guys so much for continuing on with my series. Be sure to stay tuned for my next video. Bye!